The shuttle from Earth docked at Platform 7 with a soft hiss. The doors slid open and stepped out into the Galactic Coalition Academy for the first time. He carried one bag over his shoulder. He wore the same uniform as every other new cadet. But the moment he appeared, everyone stopped talking. Was not special by human standards. He was 22 years old, average height, with a lean build and quiet eyes. Back home he was just another student who liked the ocean and helped his grandfather in the garden. But here, 47 light years from Earth, he was something else entirely. The aliens around him came from gentle planets. Their worlds had calm weather, soft sunlight, and animals that did not hunt. They evolved in safety. Humans did not. Earth was a planet of earthquakes, hurricanes, volcanoes, and predators. The gravity was heavy. The sun gave radiation. The bacteria could kill. And somehow, humans not only survived there but became the dominant species. This made aliens very nervous. "Is that him?" whispered a tall creature with blue skin and 4 eyes. "The human." "Do not look at him directly," another replied. "I heard they can sense fear." Heard them, his hearing was better than theirs, but he said nothing. He simply walked forward, following the signs toward the registration hall. The academy was massive. It floated in space, a city of metal and glass where young beings from across the galaxy came to learn. They studied science, diplomacy, medicine, and combat. The best graduates would serve the coalition, keeping peace among 1,000 different species. Had dreamed of this place since he was a child watching the stars from his grandmother's roof. Now he was here, and everyone was afraid of him. At the registration desk, a small creature with fur looked up at him. Its nose twitched rapidly. "Name?" it asked, voice shaking slightly. "You from Earth?" The creature typed quickly, not meeting his eyes. "Room assignment is 742. Your roommate is Trill from Prime. Orientation begins in 1 hour. Please do not. Please just follow the rules." "I will," said politely. "Thank you." He found his room easily. It was small but clean, with 2 beds, 2 desks, and a window showing the stars. His roommate Trill was already there. Trill was tall and thin, with pale purple skin and large dark eyes. When entered, Trill pressed against the far wall. "You are the human," Trill said. It was not a question. "Yes, I am. It is nice to meet you." Trill did not move. "I have read about your planet. Your atmosphere is corrosive. Your star produces dangerous radiation. Your animals have teeth and claws. Your own bodies contain acid." "Stomach acid," said. "It helps us digest food. It is normal." "It is horrifying." Trill's large eyes blinked. "I have requested a room transfer. No offense to you personally. I simply do not wish to sleep near a predator species." Felt something heavy settle in his chest, but he kept his face calm. "I understand. I hope your new room is comfortable." 3 hours later, Trill was gone, had the room to himself. He sat on his bed and looked out at the stars. He had known this would be hard. His family had warned him. His teachers had warned him. Commander, one of the few humans at the academy, had sent him a message before he left Earth telling him to be patient. But knowing something would be hard, and actually living it were 2 different things. He unpacked his bag slowly. He had brought very little: some clothes, a photo of his family, a small stone from the beach in where he used to swim, and a worn notebook filled with his grandfather's handwriting. His grandfather had been a soldier long ago, during a terrible war. He had seen things that gave him nightmares until the day he died. But he had also taught many things: how to stay calm when afraid, how to breathe when the world felt too heavy, how to move his body in ways that could protect him if words failed. "The universe is not kind," his grandfather used to say, "but you can be. Just be strong enough to survive first." Touched the notebook gently. Then he put it away and went to orientation. The main hall was full of cadets, hundreds of them from dozens of different species. They sat in groups, talking and laughing, already forming friendships. found a seat in the back corner alone. The academy director, a massive creature that looked like a floating jellyfish, gave a long speech about excellence and cooperation and the bright future they would all build together. Listened carefully. He wanted to believe those words. After the speech, cadets began to leave in groups. No one approached, no one even looked at him except with quick, fearful glances. Then someone sat down beside him. "You are the human everyone is whispering about." Turned, a woman about his age smiled at him. She had black hair, warm eyes, and a familiar face. She was human. "I am Park," she said. "Medical track, second year. I thought you might want to see a friendly face." For the first time since arriving, felt himself relax. "I am, thank you. I really needed this." Laughed softly. "I know, I remember my first day. It gets better, slowly, but it does get better." She stood and offered her hand. "Come on. I will show you where the good food is. The cafeteria stuff is terrible, but there is a small place on level 12 that actually understands human taste buds." Took her hand and stood. Outside the windows, the stars stretched endlessly into the dark. He was far from home. He was feared and alone. But he had come here for a reason, and he was not going to give up. Not yet, not ever. 3 weeks passed at the academy, attended every class. He studied hard. He followed every rule. He was polite to everyone he met, even when they refused to sit near him or talk to him. He thought that maybe with time they would see he was not dangerous. He was wrong. Noticed him on the third day. Was a species covered in beautiful shimmering scales that changed color with their mood. He was tall and proud, with a father who sat on the Coalition Council. Had never met anyone who did not respect him or fear him. He had everything he ever wanted. And he hated the human immediately. "Look at him," said to his friends during lunch. They sat at the best table in the cafeteria, watching eat alone in the corner. "He walks around like he belongs here, like he is one of us." "He scored highest in endurance testing," said Murex, a large alien with thick skin and small nervous eyes. "Instructor said his body is very efficient." "So he can run far. So what?" Scales flickered orange with annoyance. "He is still just an animal from a death world. My father says humans cannot be trusted. Their planet tried to kill them, and instead of dying, they became killers themselves." Creel, who had 4 arms and hard plates covering his body, cracked his knuckles. "Want me to teach him a lesson?" "Not yet," said. "Let us have some fun first." The harassment started small. Returned to his room one evening to find his belongings scattered across the floor. His clothes were torn. His photo of his family had been cracked. He cleaned everything up without saying a word. The next week, someone hacked into his personal tablet and deleted all his class notes. He had to stay up all night rewriting them from memory. He did not complain. Then the climate controls in his room were changed. When he went asleep, the temperature was normal. When he woke up, his room was freezing. Ice had formed on the walls. His blanket was stiff with frost. A human from a colder part of Earth might have been fine, but was from a coastal city with mild weather. He spent the next 3 days sick with a fever. Still, he reported nothing. Found him in the medical bay, getting treatment for his illness. She sat beside his bed with her arms crossed. "I heard what happened," she said. "Everyone knows it was and his friends. Why will you not report them?" Coughed softly. "What would that change? Father is powerful. The academy would investigate, find nothing, and I would look like a troublemaker." "So you just accept it?" "I survive it." He looked at her with tired eyes. "On Earth we have a saying. The nail that sticks up gets hammered down. I am already the only nail here. If I stick up any higher, they will hammer harder." Shook her head. "That is a terrible way to live." "Maybe, but I did not come here to fight. I came here to learn. I came here to show that humans can be trusted. If I lose my temper and hurt someone, I prove everyone right. I become the monster they already think I am. And if they do not give you a choice?" did not answer, but that night, alone in his repaired room, he took out his grandfather's notebook. He read the words written inside: instructions for breathing, instructions for moving, instructions for fighting when there was no other way. Then he stood in the small space between his bed and desk, and he practiced. His grandfather had learned these movements during the war. They were not pretty or fancy. They were designed to end fights quickly, to protect yourself when you were smaller, weaker, outnumbered. Every strike aimed for soft spots. Every movement flowed into the next. Speed over strength, efficiency over elegance. Had practiced these forms since he was 7 years old. His grandfather made him train every day, even when he did not want to, even when he complained, even when he asked why a modern boy needed to know how to fight. "The universe is not kind," his grandfather always said. "You must be kind, but first you must be able to survive. Kindness from the weak is just surrender. Kindness from the strong is a choice. Be strong enough to choose." For an hour moved through the forms. His body remembered even when his mind was tired. Strike, block, turn, breathe, strike again. When he finished, he was covered in sweat. His muscles ached, but his mind was clear. He hoped he would never need these skills. He hoped would get bored and leave him alone. He hoped that patience and politeness would be enough. But deep inside, in a place he did not like to look, he knew the truth. It was only a matter of time. The next morning went to combat training. Instructor, a veteran with 3 mechanical limbs, assigned random partners for sparring practice. She called out, "You are paired with Creel." Creel grinned, his forearms flexed. His natural armor gleamed under the training lights. "Try not to break, little human," he said quietly, so only could hear. Stepped onto the mat. He took a breath. He settled into a defensive stance. And he waited for what was coming. The sparring match was not fair. Creel had 4 arms, each one stronger than both of us combined. His body was covered with hard plates that could stop a knife. He was bigger, heavier, and had been trained to fight since childhood. Had none of these things. He only had speed and patience. For 3 minutes he did not attack. He dodged. He stepped aside. He let Creel's fists cut through empty air again and again. When he could not dodge, he blocked, using his forearms to push the strikes away instead of stopping them directly. His arms would be bruised tomorrow, but nothing would be broken. Creel grew frustrated. His attacks became wild, sloppy, but the timer ran out before he could land a solid hit. "Match complete," announced instructor. "Creel wins on points, but Cadet, your defense was adequate. You survived against a stronger opponent. That has value." "Adequate?" laughed from the observation area where cadets watched the matches. "He did nothing but run away. The famous is a coward." Some cadets laughed with him. Others stayed silent but did not disagree, bowed to instructor and walked off the mat without responding. After class, he headed for the refresher stations to clean up. The fastest route was through a maintenance tunnel in the lower level of Building 9. Almost no one used it because the lights were dim and the air was cold. Did not mind. He liked the quiet. He was halfway through the tunnel when the lights went out completely. Stopped walking. His heart began to beat faster. His eyes adjusted to the darkness slowly. Emergency lights glowed red along the floor, but they showed very little. Then he heard footsteps, 4 sets of them coming from ahead. "Did you think we would let you embarrass us forever?" His voice echoed off the metal walls. They stepped into the dim red light, his scales dark with anger. Behind him came Murex, Creel, and they spread out, blocking the tunnel in both directions. "Walking around like you belong here," continued. "Acting like you are one of us. You are not. You are an animal from a death world, and it is time someone taught you your place." Looked at each of them. Creel was cracking his knuckles. Murex shifted his weight nervously. The fastest of the group bounced lightly on his feet, ready to move. "I do not want to fight you," said quietly. "Good," smiled. That will make this easier. They attacked together. They had planned this, practiced it. 4 against 1 in a dark tunnel with no witnesses. They expected it to be quick. They were right, but not in the way they imagined. Moved first. He was of the same species as his old roommate, tall, thin, fast. He shot forward like a striking snake, claws reaching for his throat. Did not step back. He stepped forward into the attack past the reaching arms. His elbow drove upward into the soft spot beneath his jaw where the nerve clusters gathered. The eyes went wide, then rolled back. His body dropped like a puppet with cut strings. 1 second. Creel roared and swung all 4 arms at once. It was a devastating attack that could break bones if it connected. Ducked under the first arm, deflected the second with his forearm, and caught the third mid-swing. He used Creel's own momentum to pull him off balance. 2 seconds. Before Creel could recover, his palm struck the center of his chest, not the armored part, the small gap between the plates where the muscle was soft. Creel made a sound like breaking glass. Something inside him cracked. He fell. 3 seconds. Murex tried to grab from behind. Big arms, slow movements. Dropped his weight and rolled backward into Murex's legs, knocking the larger alien off balance. As Murex stumbled, came up with his fist driving into the soft part of Murex's throat. Murex collapsed, choking, gasping for air. 4 seconds. Only remained standing. The had not moved. His scales had gone pale white with fear. His hands were raised in front of him. "Wait," he said, his voice cracked. "Wait, I did not mean." Crossed the distance between them in 1 step. His hand caught his wrist and twisted. He pulled down and to the side. Shoulder made a wet popping sound as it came out of place. Screamed and fell to his knees. 5 seconds. Released him and stepped back. 6 seconds. Silence. 7 seconds. 4 bodies lay in the red emergency light. 3 were unconscious, knelt on the floor, cradling his arm and making high-pitched crying sounds, stood in the middle of them, breathing hard. He looked at his hands. They were not shaking. Some part of him thought they should be. He had just hurt 4 people very badly in less time than it took to tie his shoes. But his hands were steady. His mind was clear. His grandfather's training had worked exactly as it was supposed to. A sound came from behind him. Footsteps, turned fast, ready for another attack. Park stood at the tunnel entrance. She held a medical kit in her hands. Her face was pale with shock. "I was looking for you," she whispered. "I heard noises." She looked at the bodies, then at the bodies again. What did you do?" He took a slow breath. "I survived." He looked around at the fallen cadets. Some were starting to moan. None were dead. He had been very careful about that. "I need you to call medical and security. This needs to be documented properly." "Documented, you just." "They attacked me, 4 against 1. In a dark tunnel they prepared in advance. There are security cameras. The footage will show everything." His voice was calm, but his eyes were sad. "I did not want this, but they did not give me a choice." Stared at him for a long moment. Then she activated her communicator and called for help. Sat down against the wall and waited. Around him, the 4 cadets who had thought he was weak lay broken on the cold metal floor. 7 seconds, that was all it had taken. He hoped it would be enough. The Academy Infirmary was not designed for 4 patients from a single fight. The medical staff worked quickly, but their hands trembled as they examined the injuries. They had read about human combat abilities in textbooks. They had never seen the results in person. Creel had a cracked chest plate and internal bruising. The doctors said he would need 3 weeks to heal. Was in a light coma from the nerve strike. He would wake up, but he would have terrible headaches for months. Murex had damage to his throat and could not speak above a whisper. His breathing was painful and slow. Shoulder had been completely dislocated. The doctors reset the joint, but he screamed so loudly that they had to give him drugs to make him sleep. Total time of the fight, according to the security footage, 7 seconds. The news spread through the academy like fire. By morning, every cadet knew what had happened in the maintenance tunnel. They whispered the story in hallways, in classrooms, in their rooms late at night. 4 cadets, 7 seconds, 1 human. Did not hear the whispers. He was in a holding room near the security office, answering questions from Officer, a tall alien with long antennae and cold eyes. "You claim you acted in self-defense," said. His voice was flat, suspicious. "I do not claim anything," replied. "The footage shows what happened. They ambushed me. They attacked first. I defended myself." "You did more than defend yourself. You hospitalized 4 cadets." "I stopped the attack as quickly as I could. If I had taken longer, they might have hurt me badly, or killed me." Leaned forward. "What I want to understand is how. You are 1 human, small, no natural weapons, no armor. How did you defeat 4 larger opponents in 7 seconds? Looked at him steadily. "I am from Earth." "That is not an answer." "It is the only answer I have." Silence filled the room. His antennae twitched with frustration. Before he could ask another question, the door opened and Commander walked in. "That is enough, officer," she said. Her voice was calm but firm. "I will take over from here." Started to argue, but something in his eyes made him stop. He gathered his notes and left without another word. Sat down across from. For a long moment she simply looked at him. Then she spoke. "I watched the footage 3 times. Then you know I did not start it." "I know," she paused. "I also know you held back. You could have killed them. Every strike you made, you aimed to disable, not destroy. You were careful even when they were not." Nodded slowly. "I did not want to kill anyone. I just wanted to survive." "Why?" The question surprised him. "What do you mean?" "You could have ended them. 4 cadets who tormented you for weeks, who sabotaged your work, destroyed your things, made you sick. You had 7 seconds where no one was watching. You could have made sure they never bothered you again. But you did not. Why?" Was quiet for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was soft. "Because I came here to prove something. Not to myself, to everyone else. Humans are seen as monsters, Commander. Dangerous animals from a dangerous world. If I had killed them, I would have proved everyone right. I would have become the thing they fear. And now they will fear me anyway. But maybe they will also see that I could have been a monster and chose not to be. Maybe that means something." Studied his face. "You are very young to think so clearly." "My grandfather taught me. He said kindness from the weak is just surrender. Kindness from the strong is a choice. I wanted to be strong enough to choose." "Your grandfather sounds like a wise man." "He was. He died 2 years ago." "I am sorry." Shook his head. "Do not be. He lived a full life, and he prepared me for this moment better than he knew." The disciplinary hearing happened 3 days later. The Great Hall was full of cadets, instructors, and academy officials. Everyone wanted to see what would happen to the human who had put 4 students in the infirmary. His father appeared on his scales bright with anger. He demanded that be expelled immediately. He called humans primitive and violent. He said the academy had made a mistake admitting Then they played the security footage. The hall went silent. Every eye watched as and his friends ambushed in the dark. They watched as the human was surrounded. They watched as he tried to talk his way out, only to be attacked anyway. And they watched 7 seconds of controlled violence that left 4 larger, stronger, better-equipped cadets on the floor. When the footage ended, no one spoke. The academy director, the floating jellyfish creature from orientation, made the final decision. "The evidence is clear," she said, her voice resonating through the hall. Cadet acted in legitimate self-defense against an unprovoked attack. The 4 attackers will receive 6-month suspensions and mandatory counseling. Cadet will receive a formal commendation for restraint in the face of hostile action. His father began to argue. The director cut off his transmission. This hearing is concluded. Walked out of the hall surrounded by whispers, but they were different whispers now. Not fear, not disgust, something else. Something like respect. The days after the hearing were strange for. He still went to class. He still studied hard. He still ate in the cafeteria and walked through the academy halls, but everything felt different. People looked at him now, not the quick, fearful glances from before, real looks. Some were curious, some were nervous, some held something that might have been admiration, and some, for the first time since he arrived, tried to smile. A cadet held the door open for him on the way to class. Moved aside in the hallway and nodded politely. Small things, tiny moments, but noticed each one. In combat training, instructor called him aside after the session. "I have trained cadets for 40 years, she said. Her mechanical arm clicked softly as she crossed her arms. "I have seen warriors from 100 different worlds. I have never seen reflexes like yours. Where did you learn to fight like that?" "My grandfather said. He survived a war on Earth long ago. He taught me everything he knew." Why would he teach such things to a child? Thought about that for a moment. Earth is not a safe place. Even now, with all our technology, nature can still kill us. Storms, earthquakes, animals, and sometimes other humans. My grandfather said the world would always be dangerous and I should be ready for it. Studied him with her one remaining eye. "Your world sounds terrifying." Smiled slightly. "It can be, but it is also beautiful. We have oceans that stretch forever and mountains that touch the sky. We have forests so green they hurt your eyes and deserts that glow gold at sunset. My grandfather used to say that the danger was the price we paid for all that beauty, and it was worth it." Worth it. Worth it, because we learned to be strong enough to protect what we love. The danger did not make us cruel. It made us careful. It made us appreciate every peaceful moment. Was quiet for a long time. Then she said something did not expect. "I think I was wrong about humans." Before he could respond, she turned and walked away. But he saw her scales shimmer slightly as she went. If he remembered his xenobiology correctly, that was the equivalent of a smile. That evening found him on the observation deck. He was sitting by the window, watching the stars the way he used to watch the ocean back home. "The whole academy is talking about you," she said, sitting beside him. "They are calling you the 7-second cadet." "I did not want a nickname." "Too late for that," she laughed softly. "You know, when I first came here, everyone avoided me too, not as badly as they avoided you, but still. I spent my whole first year alone. I thought it would never change." "What changed it?" "Time, and showing them day after day that I was not what they feared, that I was just a person trying to do my best like everyone else." Nodded slowly. "Do you think that is what I did with the fight?" Considered the question carefully. "I think you did something different, something bigger. You showed them that humans are dangerous, yes, but you also showed them that we do not have to be. You had the power to kill 4 people and you chose not to. That is not what a monster does. That is what a protector does." "I do not feel like a protector. I just feel tired." "Heroes usually do." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching the stars spin slowly past the window. Somewhere out there, 47 light-years away, Earth was circling its small yellow sun. Thought about his family. His grandmother making soup in her tiny kitchen. His little cousins playing in the street. The beach in where the waves came in soft and steady all year long. He missed them. He would always miss them. But he knew he had made the right choice coming here. "You know what my grandfather told me the day I left for Earth?" asked suddenly. "What?" "He said that humans have always been explorers, even when it was dangerous, even when it hurt. We crossed oceans in wooden boats. We climbed mountains that killed half of everyone who tried. We went to space when our rockets were barely more than controlled explosions. And we did all of that not because we were not afraid, but because we were curious, because we wanted to see what was on the other side. Nodded, he understood. I think that is what makes us special, continued. Not our strength, not our endurance, not our ability to survive on a deadly planet. It is our curiosity, our stubbornness, our refusal to stay where it is safe when there is something new to discover. She turned to look at him directly. You came here knowing everyone would fear you, knowing it would be hard, maybe impossible, and you came anyway. That is the most human thing I can imagine. Felt something warm bloom in his chest. For the first time since arriving at the academy, he did not feel alone. Thank you. For what? For reminding me why I came here. She smiled. That is what friends are for. They watched the stars together for a long time after that. Eventually, other cadets began to arrive at the observation deck. A group of 2, a small cluster of species did not recognize. They came to watch the stars too. And when they saw sitting there, they did not leave. One by one, they found seats nearby, not too close but not far away either, a careful distance, a beginning. Noticed, he did not say anything, but when a young met his eyes accidentally, he smiled. The blinked in surprise, then hesitantly she smiled back. Outside the window, the universe stretched on forever, vast and cold and indifferent. But inside the observation deck, something new was growing. Not trust exactly, not yet, but the beginning of it, the first small steps toward understanding. Looked at the stars and thought about his grandfather, about Earth, about the long road still ahead. Then he turned back to the room full of aliens who were slowly, carefully, learning not to be afraid. And he smiled,